I'm Aaron Raw, and you're watching Atheist Edge.
Not convinced yet? Well, we saved the best for last. After this comparison, there will be no doubt in your mind that the biblical story of Jonah is a work of pure plagiarism. The Hebrew word kikayon is a word found nowhere else except the book of Jonah. It refers to a plant, either a type of gourd or the seed of a castor oil plant. Many interesting explanations for why this word was coined have been offered, none of them entirely convincing. No one seems to have noticed, however, that this word sounds very much like the brew prepared by Medea, koukeyon. In Apollonius's version of the Jason story, and in the Argonautica Orphica, it comes from the Greek verb koukeio, to stir up or create confusion. Here, a mysterious potion, a mixture made of medicinal and dangerous plants, is used by Medea to put to sleep the serpent or dragon guarding the tree where the fleece was hanging. In Apollonius, Medea rubs the head of the monster with the potion and sprinkles it to achieve the same result. In some later Roman representations, she is shown presenting a vial to the serpent coiled around the tree, while Jason, unseen, grabs the golden fleece. The koukeyon or kikeon is also the name of the drink of barley gruel and water, associated with Eleusinian mysteries, where perhaps the role of the python had been similar to that of the sea monster in ancient versions of this tradition. The kikeon in the Hebrew story is a fast-growing medicinal plant. The Greek kikeon is clearly made with pharmacological plants. Furthermore, whatever the Hebrew kikeon denotes, it acts as a vomit-inducing drug and aims at making Jonah rid himself of his anger, in an obvious punning parallel with his disgorgement from the fish.
It is not surprising in itself that motifs and characters known from a version of the story of the Argonauts would appear in the book of Jonah, when one considers how widespread they were in the literary and iconographic records of the whole Mediterranean region. However, in light of this information, we know two things. Firstly, it would be absurd to suggest that the Hebrew story of Jonah actually occurred in ascertainable history. Secondly, it is disingenuous to propose that any element from the book of Jonah was the product of divine revelation. It is nothing more than a pale recasting of Jason's adventures, from elements such as flight and storm to sea monsters and doves, from a never-sleeping serpent to a worm that keeps us awake at night. Like the dragon preventing Jason's possession of the wondrous fleece, a magical symbol of foundational sacrifice, Jonah fiercely blocks access to divine mercy. Jason needs assistance at every crucial turn of the story and appears weak. Jonah is also passive due to his extreme view of prophecy. The natural attraction that Jason's sailors have for their pantheon of gods, and the natural attraction Nineveh's king in the book of Jonah adapts for the Jewish god. Medea's night monologue in Apollonius Argonautica, when she is wavering in her desire to help Jason tame the monstrous bulls, presents interesting parallels to that of Jonah and his reluctance to help the people of Nineveh. The pharmaceutical mixture, which Medea uses to put the monsters to sleep, has changed in form but retained its soothing quality for the overheated Jonah. The list goes on and on.
Bonus parallel, the Jonah story takes place at Joppa, now Jaffa, the same place where the mythical Perseus battled a giant sea monster threatening Andromeda. The bones of the monster, probably a fossilized whale, were shipped to Rome in 58 BCE for inspection in Pliny's day according to his Natural History published in 77 CE. Lycophron from Alexandria from 834 to 842 CE recorded that Perseus was swallowed by the dragon and killed it from within. When we compare the complex geography and themes of the Argonaut saga with the myopic, provincial, and drastically simplified story of Jonah, it is easy to deduce that this biblical story is not divinely inspired, which leads to a much bigger question. If the entire book of Jonah is nothing more than an Iron Age exercise in copyright infringement, how much more of the Bible is also fake? And when you factor in the overt element of mockery of the polytheistic Greeks in the book of Jonah, it's all the more reason to set aside the view of the Bible as a didactic parallel teaching that divine compassion knows no boundaries and is universal. This is yet another piece in a long line of evidence which exposes the counterfeit origins of Judeo-Christianity. Redact, revise, invent, delete. Biblical authors do whatever it takes to suit their own purposes. In the immortal words of Kenneth Humphreys, it isn't history, it isn't truth, it's just more astounding rubbish from the Bible.